Yo, welcome back to najishwa.com. Today I'm going to discuss with you a quick one, right? About is property better or is stocks better? Okay, so before I continue, do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And let's get down to it. Okay, so about property versus stocks, right? This is a really long time debate, right? And what do you prefer? Property or stocks? Do you have a preference? Now, here's the catch, right? There isn't a property versus stock dilemma. It's not an either or. You can have both, right? Okay. The question is, which one should you start off first, or which one will you stay or stick to? Okay, property or stocks. In fact, actually, both of them are on par because they have their pros and their cons. Okay, what I like about stocks, okay, so in Singapore, right, if you go with stocks, there's a lot of dividend stocks in Singapore that are pretty stable. You know, you can get about maybe 4-5% dividends per year on top of capital gains. So that's about 7-8% per year. Okay, so that is stocks. That let me add to that as well. Okay, stocks you can also reinvest. That means you can take the dividends, you can throw it back and buy more stocks. That means like, you know, you get let's say 10% per year, you can have 10% reinvested every year and your stock portfolio will grow year on year. Okay, so that's a powerful thing about stocks. Another thing about stocks, dividend stocks in Singapore, you must know that dividends are not taxable. It's not a taxable event in Singapore. There are some countries as well that when you get dividends, there's no tax at all. Okay, so that's a plus point. It goes straight into my bank account. I just spend it, and it's like magic money. Some people talk about magic internet money. I talk about magic dividend money. It's wonderful to me, you know, and it just works like clockwork, right? So that's generally it about dividend stocks. Okay, the other thing that we're going to talk about is property. Okay, property is very physical. Okay, you see it, you like it, and then everybody needs to stay in a property. So in a sense, property doesn't go that wrong, because if you find it difficult to rent out, you can always lower the rent. You have more control when it comes to property. Okay, the plus point of property is number one, control. You can beautify it, you can increase the rent, you can decrease the rent. You know, another beautiful thing about property is the fact that you can borrow money. So like, you know, in Singapore it's a standard, you put 20% down. So if the property is worth $1 million, you put 20% down, which is 200,000, okay, and you borrow 800,000. So property is a very powerful use of other people's money. In this case, the bank's money, right? Of course, it's not so easy. The banks don't loan you if you're not working consistently. Okay, but if you are, leverage is a very powerful tool in your favor when used right. Okay, so the most powerful thing about property is the ability to leverage. Banks love properties because it's a physical property, and then you have more control. You can beautify it, you can increase the rent, decrease the rent. Okay, property works really well with scale, because when, let's say for example, the $1 million property, you may buy it this year at $1 million. In a few years' time, it could be worth 1.5 million. Let's say 10 years' time, worth 1.5 million. Then you can refinance and you can pull out equity, which is cash, and buy another property. And that's how they play the game of property, right? It's a game of leverage. And that's why Robert Kiyosaki really loved it. To reach that point that he loves the game of properties. It's a wonderful business and investment at the same time. The bad thing about property is that 20% of $1 million is a big chunk of change, 200,000. And not many of us have that much money around. Okay, so again, back to the question, property or stocks? Recently I found that stocks, you can also borrow money, you can also leverage, right? And play the game of using leverage in stocks, dividend stocks as well. And it works pretty much similar to having a property investment. Okay, so with that being said, it makes stocks and property very balanced, in the sense that they're about the same. The difference being that with stocks, you can be more hands-off. Like for me, my dividend stocks pays me dividend. It goes straight to my bank account. I don't have to think about it other than reinvesting the dividends or just use the dividends. That's it. But when it comes to property, okay, you have to deal with the agents. You gotta deal with anything that's broken in the house. You can outsource, but you still have to deal with it. Okay, and it's also a taxable event when you get rental income. So you have to declare your income tax at the end of the year, pay your income tax, settle your house stamp duty and things like that. Whereas in stocks, you don't have that. So it depends what kind of preference you have. You want something more hands-off, then stocks is the way. If you want to have to play the game of leverage, you want to be an active investor, property is the way. And that's what I think about property versus stocks. No right, no wrong. It's a preference, okay? And right now, for me, I personally prefer stocks. It's just so much easier because I just want it to be more hands-off and passive. That's all for me today. Take care. Bye.